Good morning, you all. Good morning, you all.
Good morning.
So, we're going to talk about some pragmatic aspects of leadership. People think that leadership is doing these big, great, huge things, and that you have to have an amazing personality that can walk in and capture a room, and that there are people who believe that they're just not leaders. I mean, we work with school systems all over the country, and one of the things that when we're working with teachers, the whole narrative, we have to help them change their narrative that I am a leader. That I'm leading kids, that I'm making an impact, that they're going to be remembering me 50 years from now. And I'm going to be a pivotal. And so how many of you in this room at times if I'm going to ask you to answer this question, and the first thing that comes to your mind, I want you to own that. Do you honestly believe that you're a leader? Now, how many of you said, maybe, I don't not know? Anybody, now be honest, anybody here struggle with that? A bunch of us. There are times that I struggle with that. And what I'm going to show you today is that if you have the ability to impact another person's life, to make their life better because of your presence in it, you're a leader. Informal leadership in today's world is far more potent than formal leadership. With me? Now, I have a portfolio manager who's helping me so that Tracy and I can ride off into retirement someday, like you, Joe Zink, from Festival. Welcome. Joe is one of the executive leaders at Festival, and when we moved here to town, he was the guinea pig for Festival Foods to go through our process and to go back and say to them, yeah, I think they can have an impact. And he was the one, if you love what we do, you're welcome. If you hate what we do, it's all Joe's fault. Joe, it is so good to have you with us. Good to have you. And so, you all, I have a portfolio manager that I asked him one day, I said, when you're putting all these companies together that you buy, and their performance represents the value going up significantly. And I said, how do you do it? And I said, I'm sure that you're looking for rock star companies to buy. He said, no, actually, it's not like that at all. He said, we're looking, if there are 10 companies, we're looking for 7 or 8 companies, 8 or 9 companies that are just steady. They're just steady. They're not volatile. They're not all over the place. They're just steady, and you can count. But he said the ones that become the anchor, those 1 to 2 to 3 that are constantly dragging you down, he said it is more important to address that than to find a couple superstar companies. And so what I want to suggest to you today is that leadership is really about not doing those 1 to 2 to 3 things that we do when we're under pressure. That is not the best version of ourselves. That we shoot ourselves in the foot when we go to that place. And it sets us back. Does that make sense? You know what? One of my ways that I shoot myself in the foot, it's a way of thinking, oh, leadership transformation is not this massive change. It's just 2 or 3 pivots in how you think about certain things. For instance, if I think that failure makes me a failure because of the systems that I've grown up in, am I going to take a risk? Am I going to take a risk, ladies, if I have a mental system that says failure makes me a failure? No. I want to play it safe. I had to learn how to make failure my friend instead of my enemy. It becomes an ally instead of an anchor or an anvil. Another self-limiting belief that I have struggled with is if someone hurts me. I came from a family system where there were a lot of secrets. There was a lot of rejection. There was a lot of talking behind your back and you didn't know it. It was a highly dysfunctional family. And so when I get hurt by someone, my default tendency is to what, Tracy? The team has a term for it. The Iron Curtain comes down. I don't get vicious. I don't get nasty. I don't get vindictive. I just go away. Anybody ever here struggle with that? I just go away. When I was a 3-year-old kid, I loved to tease my older brother and my younger brother. And then they'd get fighting with each other, and I'd step out. And Mom would come in, and I was always the angel. And by the way, that stopped when they started having accountability sessions with me when Mom was no longer there, if you know what I mean. And so, where was I before I so rudely interrupted myself? And so Dad would come to me and say, look, if you're going to dish it out, you better be able to take it. And he would tease me. And I would go, I'm not talking. And family thought it was really funny. I'm not talking. And I would literally go in a corner and stay in a corner for hours at a time. That's what made me feel safe. It's punishment for most people. It made me feel safe. We all thought that was funny until I'm in my 30s leading a mega congregation in Detroit, and I have a staff that's afraid to talk to me. I have a staff that's afraid to give me healthy feedback and accountability. They're afraid. Not because I'm going to launch over the table, because they know what? I have a narrative that says what? I'm not talking. And that is how I kept shooting myself in the foot. Because if people know that the key leader of the organization is going to pull away from you, that's not a safe place, is it? As a leader, what are those things that you do? I want you to ask this question. And those of you who are online, type it out. What are 1 or 2 or 3 things that you're doing that keeps getting in your way? It may be messages that when you're set up in a position for success, and you do things somehow to set yourself up for failure. When I was a younger man, I was driven for my goal. How many of you have heard of John Maxwell? A lot of you. John mentored me for 7 years. And my goal as a young man was to be a national platform person just like John. And I'm not saying it was healthy. It was still something that was driving me. And when my life fell apart many years ago because of things that I was doing to shoot myself in the foot, I had to do some deep recovery work in my life. And that no longer really was a driving ambition anymore. My success came from within, not from without, or what people thought about me without. And I have found in the last 3 months, we have someone on our team who used to produce for the Rolling Stones. She knows what she's doing. And somehow she's introduced me to her world, Rebecca. She's introduced me to her world. And people have found me after I quit trying to be found. It was on the Wall Street Journal, CBS News, CBS Radio, Fox. There's a bunch of them that's come up in the last 6 months. And I didn't ask for any of it. And instead of being happy about it, I found myself finding ways to walk away from it. You know why? Because I'm afraid of what? I'm afraid of failure. Because I had my self-limiting belief was if you're a failure, if you fail, you're a failure. And I had a massive failure in my life years ago that affected my life, affected my family, hurt hundreds of people. When I was in addictive behaviors and living a double life. And so failure to me is very painful. And so I'm constantly having to work on my mindset whenever I make a mistake. Because I go to, I am a mistake. Make sense? And so self-limiting beliefs for me is, if you're going to fail, you think you're going to fail, let's just go ahead and do it anyway, and at least it's on your terms. If you're going to reject me, I know that, I'm going to set up the relationship that I'm going to take control of it, and I'll blow you out of my life before you have a chance to blow me out of my life. Make sense? And so what are those self-limiting things that you do under pressure? What are those things that you do when someone comes along in your life and says, I believe in you? And I want to set you up with greater responsibility. More responsibility than you've ever had in your life. And it's uncomfortable. And you're going to have to grow. And you're going to have to do some things that you've never done. You're going to have to make some shifts in your thinking. Is that scary when you're fighting self-limiting beliefs? There's a CEO friend who was given a few years ago, he was on a track to become the vice president of a division of a major company. And he was on a 2-year track. And at 6 months in, the company went in a different direction. And they said, you know, we're restructuring some things because we want to emphasize a certain part of the business, and that's the part of the business the part of the business that you were going to be the vice president of. We're going to go in another direction. And he was mad. He was livid. Well, they said, well, time out. We have something else. You've shown us that you're such a strong leader. We want to accelerate that 2 years. We want to make you vice president now in this division. You get to take your entire team with you. You have as much responsibility as we're about to give you. It's the same major pay raise. And we want you to be a vice president now. You know what he did? He blew up. He was angry because they changed the plan. He quit and walked away. They started exploring that with his executive coach. And here was the real issue. He had a self-limiting belief. His dad had always been no more than a manager, a 3rd or 4th level manager. And he loved and adored his dad. And he had never been exposed to the kind of thinking. It's a different world when you're a part of the C-suite and how you have to think and how you have to make decisions. And what really was, he was being asked to be number one. And he had a belief system that I'm never worthy, just being only number 2 is what and so instead, he got so close to it. And he started getting upset because His limiting belief said, I don't deserve success. I don't deserve to meet that goal. I don't deserve to be able to have my dreams met, my vision fulfilled. I don't deserve that. That's what we call our 2.7 little child mode. Our 2.7 little child mode. Oh, by the way, I talked to you about the Iron Curtain coming down. This past week, I was in the Iron Curtain over a situation. And I went into, I'm not talking. And on the way here, I went, you know what? Get out of Little Freddie. Little Freddie blows your life up. And I had to make a decision. Get out of Little Freddie. Put your wall down. Make a decision to be vulnerable. Make a decision to give someone else another chance. Make a decision to set yourself up to be hurt again. It could happen. But I would rather be hurt and continue to attract people than do this and never get hurt but keep pushing people away. That's a shift in thinking. Does that make sense? Can you all identify with things that you do to shoot yourself in the foot? And so my question is how are you going to get out of your way? Oh, you cannot do it by yourself. Success is never an island thing. You cannot become the best version of yourself without accountability, without other people that care about you that are saying, Fred, you're in Little Freddie again. You're feeling disrespected. You're feeling not heard. You're feeling exhausted. You're feeling that people are pushing you too much, and you're in Little Freddie. Now, come on, man, let's get out of it. We're so close to ourselves sometimes that we can't see ourselves. It's a blind spot. Who are you going to surround yourself with and give them permission to you to hold you accountable as an act of love and respect when you're in your little guy mode? Do we all have those little guy modes? Every single one of us. And you always have them. You just don't want to make it a little guy month, or a little guy season, or a little guy year, or a little guy era of your life like I did. So I want to ask you 3 questions. Here we go. Is your inner world keeping up with your outer world? When you're effective, opportunities are going to come to you. And if you've got a 10 opportunity, but your mental framework is at a 7, you're going to blow up. You're going to implode. If you're in a position of high responsibility that demands high integrity, high honesty, high transparency, and you're in a situation where you're in a place of compromise in your life, you will blow up. And so your inner world is all the thought processes. You know where success happens? Success happens in the 5 inches between our ears. Success happens in the 5 inches between our ears. It'll make you or break you right here. Do you agree with that? Makes or break you right here. And so your inner world are your principles. They are your values. It's your vision. The things that you have recognized. One of the things that we do in our leadership process is that we ask people over a course of 3 months to come to a deep understanding of what their purpose is. And they can get it down to 2 words. And they begin to make major decisions by it. Every major decision. Sarah, what's yours? Be present. Zach, what's yours?
Empowering life.
Anybody else? Mine's accelerating change.
Inspiring purpose.
Inspiring purpose. That's an intentional life. That is saying, this is the best version of me. And when I get into the crucible of living and the pressures that come upon you, and you've got to make deep, quick reactions, to have a decision frame that's built on, I know what my purpose is, I know what my 3 to 5 non-negotiable values are. And this is when I'm at my best. And I am making a predetermination when I get onto the field. I've already determined before I got into the stadium when I'm at my best. And I'm going to rest on that and ask myself, wait a second, I'm being asked to do something right now that my human nature wants to resist against it. Is that in line with my values? Is that in line with me at my best? Is that in line with my purpose? That is called intentional living. It requires you to be a lifelong learner. It requires you to surround yourself with people who are stronger than you are. You know what? The law of attraction says that I will attract people to me who have already become what I have committed to become. And this mysterious thing happens that those people begin to come into your life to push you and to help you and to equip you in ways that you couldn't do it by yourself. But they don't do that with people that are stuck. They don't do that with people who believe that they have arrived, because they know that their investment will be wasted. And they only have so much resource to give. You guys with me? And so, one of the ways that I can tell in any team that we ever work with is watch in the room who's doing this. Watch in the room who's arrived. You can spot it in a nanosecond. That's always a clue to us. I've never seen an effective leader who is living an intentional, high-impact life who thinks that he or she has arrived. They could read a daggone coloring book, and on the 5th time of reading it, they will still find something to get out of reading the coloring book on the 5th time. Instead of that one person, I've already done this. I've already done this. I don't need this. I don't need a coach. I don't need to be pushed. I don't need to do some self-work. I don't need that stuff. You know how you can tell if your inner world has gotten stuck or is in decline? Look at the quality of relationships that you have built closely around you. Are they people who, when you are stretching, they want you to stop because you're making them feel uncomfortable? Because your growth implies they have to grow. Are they the kind of folks that when you go to, they'll say, let go of the rubber band. It's okay. As a recovering addict and someone who worked with addicts, the hardest thing in getting to a new place in your life is overcoming all those people who want you to let go of the rubber band. Or do you have people in your life that when you're struggling, you can go to, and they will go, come on, you can do this. Don't let go of this thing. I know it hurts. I know you're uncomfortable. But being a leader means you put yourself in places of constant discomfort so that discomfort grows to be comfortable. And then when that happens, it's time to grow again. Do you surround yourself with people who are pushing you to get better? Is your inner world keeping up with your outer world? Oh, by the way, I talked to you about the vice president who quit when he was getting this close to his dreams because he had a self-message that I don't deserve success. I don't deserve anything beyond what what I've had in my family. He did the deep work, and he made some pivots, and eventually he was hired as a CEO of another company. But he had to get his inner world to catch up with his outer world opportunities. What are you thinking? How does this apply to you? Or does it? This is deep stuff, isn't it, you guys? Are you in a place where you're constantly working on those 2 or 3 pivots that you need to get out of your way? Dean, when I first met you, Dean is an incredible superintendent. He's about to retire. Stuart's about to take his place at Econo Falls. Congratulations, Stuart. Dean, why did it take so long for you to finally, after we kept meeting and meeting, you wouldn't even answer my daggone phone calls?
Fear of failure.
What'd that look like? Fear of failure.
I pulled back. I was gathering information, and I call it paralysis by analysis.
Did you hear that? Fear of failure. So how did it, you have a microphone? Yes. How did it play out for you? By the way, this is not practice. I am putting him on the spot right now.
So it took me a while to finally make the decision. You were paramount in that. You let me know we had had enough conversations and I needed to step outside my comfort zone. We were struggling as an organization, and part of that is getting past your own willingness to accept your reality. But our organization is flourishing right now. We're building the capacity of all the people within our team, and it shows how much I didn't know as I built my own capacity to understand the things that were getting in my own way.
Yeah. Can you identify with that? I've got people. Another self-limiting belief that I struggle with is that I need certainty before I make a decision. I need a little bit more information. I need to read one more book. I need to talk to 2 more people. You ever do that? Because you're afraid to make a mistake. And you don't make a decision. Look, in not making it, the best thing is to make a decision that time proves it's the right thing. The second best thing is to make a decision that's the wrong decision and to be able to adapt from it and adjust and grow. And by far the worst thing, is what? Don't make a decision. Stay stuck in paralysis. You are a guaranteed failure if you will not decide. Because opportunity does not come to you unless commitment resides in your heart. Make a commitment. Go for the ride. Do it. Second thing is, not only is your inner world keeping up with your outer world, is it time to reset your thermostat? Now, I'm old school. I'm 66. I don't think of digital thermostats. I think of the old Mercury. You don't have to laugh so much, okay? The old Mercury thermostats. And if you've got something set at 70, if it's a working heating system, a working thermostat, it goes to 70. And then the furnace quits for a while, and it comes back down. And then it starts kicking in, and it goes back up to 70. But it never goes beyond your thermostat. Make sense? That guy that I told you about that quit when his dreams were about to happen, his thermostat said 70 while he was being given an 80-degree opportunity. And instead, our lives go to the thermostat, we kick ourselves, we do something to lower the temperature, we shoot ourselves in the foot, We go back at it, and we just keep doing this. We just keep doing this, but we never break through because we won't reset our thermostat. Is it time for you to reset your thermostat? The third thing is this: self-limiting beliefs. Are you in touch with them? When we're working with leaders, we will assign them to go to 5 people in their lives that know them and believe in them, and they will shoot straight with them, and they trust them, and there's mutual trust. We call it the big guy, little guy exercise. And we'll say, go to 5 people and ask them, when I'm in the best version of my life, when my decisions they're sharp, and it seems like my impact is at the highest, and this is the best version of me, and this is when my gifts and abilities are shining, what do I look like? What's my body language look like? How do I receive and give information when I'm in that state? What's the impact on a team when I'm in that place? Oh man, Fred, when you're there, you're charismatic. When you're there, you can pull a team with you. You can get them to believe that we're going to the moon and we're all excited about getting on the trip. But what am I like when I'm in the worst version of myself? When I'm under pressure, when you're pushing me, when I don't feel heard or included, and my self-messages, my self-talk are saying, you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough. And I'm in my 2.7 self. Well, Fred, your leadership becomes manipulative. Instead of inspirational, it becomes manipulative. When you're in your worst place, you don't teach, you push. And it becomes about you instead about them. When you're in your worst place, Fred, when you're in your best place, man, can you connect with people. But when you're in your worst place, you run. You run. What are you like in your little guy mode? Because your little guy mode, 90% of our issues are caused by the 2 or 3 decisions that we make when we're in our little guy state. With me? Self-limiting belief. Another self-limiting belief that I had to deal with was I'm from West Virginia. The idea of going back to your roots is something that people in West Virginia talk about. Another thing that many say is don't outlive your roots. Don't get too fancy. It's the way people in Appalachia, it's how they live a long life when they've got poverty all around them. Don't get your expectations too high so you won't get hurt. And my dad used to say to me, don't get beyond your roots. Don't think big. Don't be bold. Don't go out there and reach for the stars. Don't shoot for greatness because you're going to get hurt. Stay small. I've had to fight that all my life. When we built this facility, I didn't sleep for probably 30 days because I knew that failure was coming. I knew that failure was coming. And I was terrified. Terrified. Can you guys identify with that? Lean into that. Don't let it rent space in your head. Go after it. You have been designed for greatness. God has invested incredible gifts into your life in such a way that no one else in the world has the same combination of gifts that you do. And you can make an impact that no one else can make. but you got to quit shooting yourself in the foot. You got to go for it. Understand that your ability to love and believe in yourself sets the ceiling. It defines how high your thermostat is going to be set. Any comments? Anything's going on? Typically, I've found that the deeper these things are, the less comments that I make. Yes, sir, Ross.
Yeah, so a lot of just fear of failure throughout the theme. Question is, when you put up the Iron Curtain, right? You go into a certain spot, little Freddie's talking to you more than others, and you've surrounded yourselves with peers that you know can be KDR, kind, direct, respectful. How do you allow them to still penetrate that Iron Curtain so they can get through to you?
They may not penetrate, and it's not their responsibility to penetrate. It's your responsibility to work on yourself. But just one comment at the right time may be enough to get me back up. Make sense? You are not responsible for changing where someone is. But you are responsible for giving them impact that they may make a choice to choose themselves. Does that make sense? And when you're increasing your inner world, the odds are increasing that you're going to receive information that you don't like, and that you're going to soak on it, and you're going to lean in it, and you're going to receive it. You're not in this place. You with me? Anything else that you're hearing?
So just a lot of not a lot of questions, but a lot of just relating. I can relate to the 66 in terms of temperature and fear of failure.
Yeah. There is no way that you're going to succeed in sales or business development if you have a thermostat that's set at 65. Because you got a belief problem. You ever seen someone that they keep hitting this level? They keep hitting this level. And the next year, they hit this level. And the next year, they hit this level. 3 years in a row, at one point, we were flat here in terms of growth. 3 years in a row, we kept hitting this. And you know why we weren't growing? Because of me. I was so afraid that we would fail if we tried new things that my team called me Dr. No. It's not that funny, Brad. I'll never forget, I walked in the door that day and my team was talking about new ideas. We need to have the ability to have virtual conferences that people from around the country can be in our processes. And I kept, nope, we're not going to do that. Everybody's got to be in the room. That's our secret sauce. It's not going to change. And I heard the team, by the way, in COVID, we grew 3 times because we were set up. If it had been for me, we would have been shut down in COVID. I had to be open to receive new information. And I walked into the door and I heard this comment, have you run that across, Fred? Nope. Well, why not? Because I'm not ready for Dr. No. I teach change, and I was the biggest change inhibitor. Our company did not change until I was willing to change, until I was willing to let down my guard and take a risk and make failure my friend and not my anchor or my anvil. You always take a look first here. Anybody else? Thoughts? What's going on in your head? What's going on in your head? Zach? I'm putting you on the spot. Leaders get put on the spot. That's part of leadership. Yes.
I would say when you said about the building, that really stuck with me, of having a large opportunity and starting to, in your mind, start to shut it down and prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
Instead of flipping it and going, okay, how do we
Yeah.
keep the foot on the gas?
There is no positive redeeming factor in playing small ball. There is no positive redeeming factor in playing small ball when you have been designed for glory. Do you hear that? Grow your inner world. Raise your thermostat. Confront your self-limiting beliefs that are there and have nothing to do with you causing them. Circumstances in your life put them there, but you're responsible for getting them out of there. Some of you have heard this by Marianne Williamson in her book, Return to Love. I love this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be because you're a child of God? Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine. As children, we were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in every one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That's leadership. Quit playing small ball. Go to those 5 people. You're going to hear a theme. They're telling you what you look like when you're in shoot your foot mode. You can make the pivot. You can go from small ball to greatness. Just quit shooting yourself in the foot. Is this helpful? Thanks, you guys. You've been great.